Alright guys, welcome to the DVD. It's on first move stoppers and breakdowns. What we're going to be focusing on this one is really what's important to riding. You want to be effective on top, but to do so you have to be on top. And I think that's something that gets passed off a lot, is that you need to learn how to stop people's first moves and you learn how to break down. Most people want to jump right to the pinning combinations and turns and things like that. But the focus really has to be on stopping their first move. And then once you stop their first move, breaking them down so you can get to a position where you can work from. So we're going to do a lot of that and use some of the techniques that me and Ben were successful at throughout high school and college. All right, guys. We're going to start getting into first move stoppers right now. Just making sure that this guy, as soon as he's starting, right off the bat, right off the whistle, that we're stopping his initial movement. All right, we want to make sure pretty much that he's got weight on his hands, and that's really the biggest thing I think for the first move stoppers, is that we get his haunches up and weight on his hands, and it makes standing up really hard, and then also when he's really pushed forward, it makes anything that he's moving with his hips, so like switches or sit outs, it makes all that a little bit longer. So starting out, the first thing that we're going to do is something that we were kind of, I guess it was just drilled into us at the University of Missouri, is Coach Smith always told us, like, getting on heavy. And sometimes you get called for it, so you got to watch how much you're doing it. But so whenever we're getting on, so let's say bottom guy set, top guy on, and when top guy comes on, we're coming with our chest, and we'll just kind of bring him forward just a little bit, and then we're getting set. All right, so just again, it's just moving his backside up forward a little more and getting weight on his hands. So after we do this, here we push it forward, whistle blows. There's a couple different things that I like to go to. All right, my main one here is either a thigh pry and our hand in the armpit, which is like a spiral ride, but I'm just gonna drive it forward, or a double thigh pry. Those are my two main ones, and it depends on what I'm going to afterwards. So if I want to go to a tight waist, I'll go thigh pry and arm in the armpit here. And if I want to go to a foot in series, which I'll show you in a little bit, I'm going to go double thigh pry, which is here. The only other one that I really have done it throughout my career and had a lot of success throughout my career is it's called a double ankle pinch. And I can't remember who did it, but I remember the reason it was done was because the guy that was real fast at stand-ups. There's some people that just have amazingly explosive stand-ups, like Tion Ware. And so this guy, I forget who it was that was doing it to him, but on top. So here, rather than doing anything upper body to stop the stand-up, right off the whistle, it was just here pinching. And so they would pinch, and then after that first movement was stopped, then they came up top and started working. So here, starting out, so the side that's on the opposite side I'm riding, we'll go to the thigh, and the near side goes armpit, and we can bring him off his haunches, or we can start here with two hands going down to his haunches, getting his weight forward. All right, guys, so what I told you guys before, when we go to one of our first move stoppers, which is the hand on the thigh, so it's a thigh pry here, and then the near armpit, we're going to take it into a spiral ride now. So from here, it's hand on the thigh, spiral ride, driving forward at first. All right, so once we get here, now it's starting to break them down. All right, and the way we're going to do this is that we're not going to go straight forward anymore. We're going to go in a circle. So this hand here, it can grab, or you can just have it here. I like to grab. So I'll go here, I'll grab, and all I'm going to do is I'm going to start circling weight and start putting pressure on this shoulder. All right, and try and bring weight over top so I can collapse his elbow. So here, driving, and I can either chop and I can pull here and get him down. And from there, we're going to attack his wrist. Here with our near wrist, come 2-on-1, 1-on-1, ankle, and get to our breakdowns. Just from a little bit different angle here. So thigh pry, and in the armpit here. So once we drive him forward, after we stop it, it's circling, pulling, all right, and attacking this wrist. So from here, if this guy tries to build back up, we can attack ankle and breaking him back down. All right, guys, another breakdown that we're gonna do is a tight waist chop. And it's another one that comes from our setup, or not our setup, our first move stopping, where we go thigh pry here and we go armpit. So again, driving them forward here, and this is a big thing here. If you guys watch my feet, all right, this knee is here pinching just a little bit. And then my back knee here, so circle, here, is stop, it's wedge. So when I have it here like this, when he tries to sit back, it keeps him off his haunches, all right? So once we get here, is come to our tight waist. It's a little bit longer to learn, and it takes a little more time, but it's much, much more effective when you guys get it down. So here, blocking, we're gonna reach over top, and what we're gonna do is we're gonna replace this knee with my hand. Here, and then it comes back down, all right? After this, we're switching sides, and feet come in, and then I'm coming up to my chop, all right? And I'm not gonna do a chop like a lot of people do, where they're running straight forward. I'm gonna bring his body up over top of his arm. So here, I drive forward, run over top of his arm. From here, we can attack wrist, and so on. This technique's a little bit different. I know there's a lot of tight waists out there. This is one that I was shown by Pat McNamara, who is coaching right now in Edwardsville, Illinois. But he was our coach at Missouri, and his tight weight was nasty. It was really, really effective, and it is a lot different for the reason than defense. So a lot of the things that a lot of people do is they try and rotate people over here to this chop and just kind of rotate over. And the reason why this tight waist is much more effective is if Ben's trying to stop it, he can shift his hips, right? Or he can put his elbow on the ground, right, and stop the tight waist. Once we get his hips off, right, we lean over top, get our tight waist and come here. Once I bring his hips over top, it doesn't matter if he puts his elbow on the ground, I can still get my tight waist. A lot of common mistakes here for kids is this big step. So you'll see it when I go over here on my left side. So if you actually do things right and you're driving real hard, a lot of people don't take this big step with their left foot. So they'll drive, they'll run real hard, and then fall to the side. And it's because they're not stopping their momentum with this left leg. So again, it's here, thigh pry, getting them out, lean in, switch in. So here I drive, and then this leg takes a big step outside to stop my momentum. Attack the wrist and finish the tight waist. All right, guys, this next breakdown, it's more of a place that we're gonna go to. It's a position, and then once we get there, then we're gonna work on our different breakdowns. And this is something that I've kind of developed over the years. I used to crab ride a lot. So when I was in high school, I started crab riding. So I started, putting my foot in and putting my foot in and going crab ride. And after a while, people, got aware to the fact that I was in a crab ride. So they'd stop me from rolling. But rather than taking my foot out, I started working from there. And it's become really, really effective because I can keep an anchor back and make sure I'm not getting too high. But I also have the range now to attack his hands and do some unique things that a lot of people can't do. So starting out, this is where we'll go a double thigh pry. So we'll have two hands down because I want to get him off his haunches on both sides. All right, so here, starting out, whistle blows, double thigh pry, driving forward. Once we get him forward, this all happens in one moment. I get here, I get this foot in, here. All right, so it goes in and I want it close to the knee. All right, this other knee comes here, and then I'm gonna pinch my hips so I'm straight around him. My hips are square, I don't wanna have this one back. So once we're square here, now it gives us the range. You can see I can attack his hands easily, I can go anywhere I want. And that's what I want, that's the effect that I want. Even here, and a lot of people when they first do it, they think they're high. So Ben will go down here. A lot of people are afraid, but here Ben can't really attack me. He can't grab anything. And then I can use that back knee, this one here, to come back and bring myself back up without really being in trouble. So this is the thing that I really like for the reason that it's safe as well as effective. So here, our first one that we're gonna do, all right, is just attacking fingers. So we're gonna attack his fingers, we're gonna rotate him in, all right, with this hand. The other hand's gonna pull across, and we're gonna grab cross wrist here. All right, we can either grab here, a 2-on-1, or outside, all right, or we can circle up all together and come ankle. So thigh pry, we get our foot in, all right, and bring our legs even. All right, so we've got a good base. From here, we can attack. If he keeps his hand outside, a little pointer is I can come over here. Again, I'm safe because I've got this anchor in back. Pull it in, attack, and bring wrist across. All right, another one we can do, if he keeps his hand out, say I don't feel comfortable over here. All right, and this one's from Robbie Waller of Lock Haven. He used to do it from my leg in. But here, I'm pulling this hand and I'm turning it outside. When I do that, I can come over here and break down. I can pull this arm out and go to work. So this one, again, it's illegal to attack single fingers, but as long as you're attacking 4 fingers or 3 fingers or more, you guys are safe to attack the hand. So here, in, all right, if he's keeping it out, I can grab fingers and turn it out. So I'm gonna grab the whole hand and pull it up. All right, and from here I can get this in and put pressure on him. And the last breakdown I'll do from here is really one that once I started showing people my bottom work, which is really keeping a strong base here and your weight back, it's hard to get those things. So once I got my foot in, here they would put their weight back, and I started bringing them, just popping them onto their hip. So all I'm gonna do is I'm gonna grab here under the armpit, I'm gonna tap, and I'm gonna bring my weight over here. So I'm planting my hand, tapping, and I'm just gonna bring him off his haunches here, onto his hip. And then from here, of course, you can start attacking hands, making this dude pay. So one more time from this angle, here. Once my foot gets in, if he keeps his weight back, here, I'm gonna tap. So again, so it's like I'm stopping his ability to move. You know, if I did this, you know, his leg can move and it's fine. But now once I restrict his movement and I pull him over top, he's coming down. All right, guys, coming out. This is another breakdown, but it's one that I like to have kids use when they're being safe. You know, they've got somebody that's really dangerous on bottom, you know, with rolls or with Petersons and stuff like that. So this is when we want to play it safe, and we want to make sure we're riding this guy and not putting ourselves in danger. So from here, we're going to chop. And this chop is a little bit different. We're not trying to break him down from the chop. All we're looking to do is get our foot hooking this outside leg. All right? So we're going to rotate him. So when we go here, you can either pull in or you can straight chop here, but we want to bring him in a circle. So we're going to go here, rotate, and as we do, we chop this, we hook this back leg with ours. All right? Once it's in, now we start coming upper body. So again here, rotating, and as he rotates, I catch that leg going over top. All right, Dustin Schlatter was really, really big on this. If you guys remember, a national champ from University of Minnesota. But so from here, once he had this, he's staying back, he's staying heavy here, and he started attacking hands. So one thing you can do is attack here, and if you can get a cross wrist, now you can start breaking them down. You know, as it driving forward, or you can come off and come to the far side of one of the ankles. All right, so this is a really good option here. Is once you get here, continue with this chop and working for that cross rest. All right, another one that you can do here, all right, is this, is arming, heading the armpit here, all right, attacking the wrist and pulling it back. And again, once you come there, you can feed it across and come cross wrist. So here, say he's basing out real hard because he knows he wants to chop. Here, head goes back to the armpit, attacking the wrist, pulling it back. From here, you can attack, you can cross it off, etc. And last but not least is always just a safe ankle. So coming across here, ankle, and coming to that cross knee and breaking them down. Again, It's just a chop series to an Oki, just working safe and low risk. All right, hooking his back leg and working your breakdown. All right, guys, another breakdown we can do, and one that I really like because it's effective in a series. So it's something that you can do it goes from one to the next to the next, and it's really smooth and fluid. So starting out, and this could be after we get our start, or it could actually be off of our start. If you know this guy doesn't have a very good stand-up or a very explosive stand-up like Tion Ware, you guys can just start attacking right away. So switching tight waist ankle. All right, on the opposite side, never on the near side. All right, we can't drive that. So here, switching here. All right, the big thing with this is our tight waist doesn't have to be very tight. It's not about that. All we want to do is start creating angles. So we're going to drive forward, and after he gets forward and he fights back, then we're going to go to the side, and once he's defending the side, then we're going to switch angle again. So here, all right, switching, going tight waist ankle. And then a big thing that a lot of people don't do, and I think it's a reason why kids get real high when they're driving and don't have good pressure, is they start driving right away. All right, a big thing what I tell my kids always is after you get here, is slide the shoulder back. I always want to go like right above his tailbone. All right, once I drop my shoulder over there, now I've got good pressure. Even if I'm not breaking him down, I'm taking away a lot of his options, as opposed to riding up here. All right, you leave yourself open to switches and all kinds of things. So again, right off the bat, switch your tight waist ankle, switching your shoulder back and driving forward. He pressures back. All right, and as he does, I'm gonna plant near knee and I'm gonna drop the shoulder here and come across this knee. All right, drive down. Boom. This is one of my favorite series because it plays into so many other things. All right, he doesn't give you one thing, he'll give you the next. If he doesn't give you that, he'll give you the next. But it just continues to work and make him think. So off the whistle here, I'm driving. He pressures back, I'll switch here, and I'll drive him down. Now, if he doesn't, I come tight waist, and I'll come over across here. All right, and I'll start working tight waist. Again, it plays into so many different things that you do, and that's why I think the tight waist ankle is really effective. Not only is it safe, but it's it's a jump off point to any of your other techniques. All right, guys, here's another breakdown, and it's really just, I guess, it's another step and something that we can add on to our tight waist ankles. So as it goes hand in hand. And it's when he's back, when he's forward, when he's building up, there's a lot of places to get it, and all we're doing is coming to this elbow and attacking across. So one thing that a lot of people miss is that they're not bringing this elbow up. So if Ben's here and I attack his elbow, all right, I can't pull it up right now. All right, and it happens to a lot of people. They get here and they just can't get it off. One thing that really helps is having the second hand here, just to push it forward. You're not trying to push it across at all. So here, he puts his elbow outward, right? So it's not about bringing his elbow in, it's about taking his hand off the ground. Once it's off the ground, he loses pressure. All right, and now I capture it. I don't want to attack. I know a lot of people attack up here, and they think that the higher they have it, the tighter it is. And really, I want it right by this elbow. All right, it's going to allow me to come off to cradles and such like that. So here, blocking, and really we're going to push it up a little bit and attacking here. And right away, we're pulling it tight. All right, it's all the way across his far shoulder as opposed to here. Here, you can start fighting it, peeling hands, all right, and it makes my life hard. So we want to pull it back. So here, boom, pulling it over. And once we get here, we're going to get a couple different things. Turning here. So with his hips, he's going to tell you what he wants you to do to him. He's going to say, oh, I want you to cradle me, or I want you to break me down and jerk me. All right, there's a lot of things he can tell you, but he can tell you one or the other. So here, if he's going away from me, he's going to tell me to cradle him. All I'm going to do here is I'm going to stick my hand under, and I'm going to start walking it like the thing in Addams Family. So you're walking here, and there's pressure on his knee. I'm going to let it go, and I'm going to run it together. All right, I'll let you guys watch the Cradle DVD with Benjamin later on. But that's one of our attacks here. So pulling it up, getting it tight. So again, if he's leaning into us, Here, our hand's going under this ankle. And I'm gonna start walking it. I'm gonna keep my chest above. Here, walking, let pressure off, crunch them together. All right? If he doesn't want us to do that, and he's seen this before, and he knows you guys have me in cradle, here, he's gonna open up this near side. When he does, same thing, I'm gonna switch my shoulder into this pocket here like I was doing a double leg. So I switch back, boom, I attack this ankle. And when I do this, I don't want to lift it straight up, I want to pull it back towards me and wrap it around. So I'll wrap it around, I'll drive, and then I'm gonna step heel toe, heel to my toe, and turn, right here. Again, once we get this elbow, pulling it back, he doesn't want us over here, he shifts his weight away, sliding our shoulder in, wrapping the leg around us, driving forward, heel, toe, and down. From here you can wrap up, and you start lifting the leg and getting your pin. Again, that's the Magic Elbow series. All right, guys, another turn that we're going to use here is we're going to get the bar. So if you watched our breakdown, first move stoppers and breakdowns video, you guys will see how to get these guys in these positions. So getting back to it, I know that we did the chop to the Oki in that DVD. Right now we're going to do a chop and we're going to pull the bar back afterwards. So here, you can chop, and then as I'm chopping, I can look to bring this bar in. Or once I get this back leg hooked, here, if I'm attacking, I drop my head back, then attacking here, I can pull back and get the bar from here. All right, so from after this, we're gonna start on our belly and start working from here. So if the guy has his arms out in front of him, pull it back, we can come here and work our bar in. And after this, we're gonna look to capture this wrist. Is really the biggest thing. So from here, coming under, attacking wrist here. And then from there, all we're doing with this one is we're gonna get his elbow on our shoulder, all right? And we can have a fist, or we can have a straight hand. I like to keep my hand open. Some people are fist people, that's great. Both are effective. I think it's really just preference. So from here, our main turn here is gonna be driving his shoulder to his shoulder, or his shoulder to his ear, and drive it kind of through the mat. So here, driving it forward, and we get his shoulder going into his ear, and we keep driving here, and then once he gets, there's like this 90 grade right here. And once he gets past this, you can turn our shoulder, or our elbow to the ground here, boom. All right, and start working for a pin there. It's kind of something that Coach Messinger's is really kind of focused on a lot, and I think he says driving the shoulder through the skull, driving the shoulder to the ear, same thing. But so after you guys get this bar, you guys have pulled it back, either with a chop or pulling it back just straight when he's down. Either way, getting his elbow right here on your chest, attacking the wrist, and then from here, driving, and getting this shoulder going to his ear. All right, continuing to drive, run it around. And then right here, once he gets to that breaking point, all right, we can let his elbow slip through and put our elbow to the ground here. You get the pin. Again, it's getting the bar and turn him over. All right, guys, so a couple more techniques we can work from the bar. Right here, after we get it pulled back, after we're attacking these wrists here, all right, it was when this guy's being feisty, we can go to a couple different things. So one is when I'm driving, this guy is gonna just slide on the mat, just to test them out, test out the waters. A lot of times I'll step over the head here, all right, and try and go. I used to go to a figure four. Now that they changed the rules, I would just lay on top of him with my leg under him. But it's still the same thing. And once you get to college, you can use the figure four. But so driving, he's sliding here. I'll kind of bring this knee here. I'll step over hard. And once here, I'll walk forward. So keeping the wrist here, getting those back points. Might be hard to get a pin with your leg under him. But so driving, I'll step over. So I gotta slide my knee forward first before I do this, and then here, I'll step over top. All right, and walk my foot forward, and get it. Couple other things you can do, if this guy's turning the shoulder down real hard here, so I can't even get him going. All right, I'll let go of this wrist, and I'll step up far side here, and I'll come underneath. All right, and once you do that, I'll pull up and I'll attack his pec right here and take him over top. So this time, this guy really tries to turn the shoulder down. I'll come here, so I'll put my knee in the side and I'll come to his pec and I'll start lifting. All right, what I want to do is I want to hook with this top leg here. All right, boom, and down. All right, you can figure for your legs and back if he's being real feisty and kind of squirrely. And the last thing you can do is that this guy builds up, and this will come in our next in another DVD when tilts, but we can switch here to his hand. All right, come reinforced tilt. And that's pretty much all there is that we do from bars. All right, guys, so we're gonna move on to half Nelsons. A big thing, and I know it was popular back in the day to do half Nelsons from your knees. It's not something that I teach kids a lot, or pretty much ever, and it's not something that I see as effective on the higher levels. If you're ever gonna get a half Nelson, it's usually once he's broke down or from a crab ride. So just to be safe and to make sure that we're not getting in any trouble here, this guy's sitting out or doing anything like that, we're gonna have the guy broken down before we go to our half Nelsons. Just a couple tips when we're doing it. A couple things that'll really help you out is knowing what this guy's gonna do on bottom. So what this guy's gonna do on bottom is probably look away and more often peel the hand. Boom, he peels it off. So one thing I started doing in high school, I told you guys I was crab rider, is I would get my half Nelson in, and this guy would always be peeling off my hand. So after a while, I got smart to it, and he would come to peel off my hand, but my head would be on top, so he'd be trying to pull it off. All right, so now I kind of realized that, like with younger kids, you know, whether it be grade school or high school, the number one thing is always peel off the hand. So anytime I'm teaching a half Nelson, it's always putting your forehead on your hand before you're doing it. So here, half Nelson comes in, forehead goes to my hand, and I'm gonna attack this wrist and start driving it. So boom, tacking, I'll start driving it. Here. So once I get here about this place, again, it's about a tipping point, right about 90%, or 90 degrees here. I'm gonna start sliding this arm in, and I'm gonna come here. So my elbow comes to the back of the head, and so the tip of my thumb is on his chin. Right there. All right, I'm gonna start driving, and then right here, I'm stopping driving, and I start pulling. So I turn back here, and I'll start bringing both my elbows together, and what it'll do is it'll start restricting his air, which makes it easy to get the pin. So here, on top, throw it in, attack, all right? And with this hand, I don't want to push, I pull so his head can't move any further away. Head goes down on top, drive, right here, and then I'm gonna punch it in and sink that shoulder, just so my elbow, my thumb's at the tip of his chin, which on Ben's is a little bit big. So here, sliding back, crunching, and then once the fight's out of him, now I'll let him down, and I'll get the pin. Again, half Nelsons. All right, guys, so we're gonna start getting into our drills here. A big thing that I think that is the most critical thing when you're getting on top and working on top. It's not exactly the move that makes it really effective. So like if I got a really good half Nelson, but everyone knows it, then they can defend it. It's when I've got things that go together. For instance, like the cradle and the Turk, or you know, the cross wrist to a Turk or to a tilt. You know, things that work together. So when we're doing this here, when we're drilling and doing different drills, a lot of it's putting together the pieces and just going slow and figuring out how to transition from one to the other smoothly and to read your partner and what he's telling you. So our bottom guy here, you can do it either way. I would start slow and then build your way up. So I would start with drilling slow, and then when you get into it, you know, say 50%, and then after that you go 100, which is live. So all you're gonna do is, you know, you have your coaching, you have your guys set. You know, once they get set, it's just blowing the whistle and working on those whistle starts. There's no other way to do it than to get repetitions with it. So bottom guy set, you know, top guy on, he gets on heavy, gets set, and then boop, whistle. All right, so right away, you know, thigh pry and chopping, etc. Double thigh pry, you can pinch his legs, but just working right off the whistle and getting used to hearing it and getting used to going right to your techniques. Because the last thing you want is for him to get his technique first. So all we're going to be doing is breaking our guy down, and he's got to build up, and we're breaking him down again. So you can do it with anything you guys do for breakdowns. One of the big things that we do is we'll do cross wrist. So once we have a cross wrist, we'll stay with the cross wrist, and we'll stay with this wrist and keep working. So we'll come, you know, far ankle here, driving him down. Once he's broken down, bottom guy builds up. You know, we can come near, or we can work on switching and coming to this other ankle, running it down. He builds up, switching, coming here, sliding off to our cross knees. All right, we'll work on the different breakdowns that we worked, and just repetitive. He doesn't have to build up. I don't have to have it real grueling. But again, it's working on the transitions, making sure that you're fluid on top, going from one to the next.